Welcome back to the BoshNRoll channel. Today I'm playing Legacy, and this deck is brought to you by Patreon subscriber Claire. And for the first time, I think in BoshNRoll history, this entire week will be Legacy, and it will all be sponsored by Patreon subscriber Claire, all 5 videos in a row, and they will all be helping to promote Tolarian Community College's annual fundraiser to support Trans Lifeline. Last year, Tolarian Community College, in just a few days, raised just short of $600,000 for Trans Lifeline. Awesome community effort, awesome prizes given by the professor, and other people jump in and donate prizes, and each donation gets you in the prize pool. It's a whole thing. Check out the links in the video description that'll send you over to the Tolarian Community College page to do all that. Today is Monday, February 2nd. The drive starts Wednesday, February 4th and goes to Friday, February 6th. Today is just hype. It's not open yet, but get your links, get your clickers, get your dollars ready because it's coming. That said, let's talk about today's list. This is Mono Black Moonshadow mid-range. Moonshadow is kind of the new one drop that gets bigger over time if you do certain things from Lorwyn Eclipsed. 1 mana 7/7 with Menace, enters with 6 -1 counters on it. When 1 or more permanent cards are put into your graveyard from anywhere, while this creature has a -1 counter on it, remove a -1 counter from it. You may remember Stalactite Stalker, a card that came out a couple of years ago, which people were excited about, people built decks around, and that one, at the end of your turn, if any number of permanents went into the graveyard, it got a +1 counter. Moonshadow can trigger multiple times per turn. It can trigger before combat, so it can get bigger. It gets bigger faster at times where it's more advantageous. Stalactite Stalker has a little kind of expensive removal spell component attached to it if you're willing to sacrifice your creature, but Moonshadow only gets bigger. Permanents that can be placed into the graveyard with ease are lands. They just go to the graveyard. That's easy. Wasteland does the same thing. Mishra's Bauble goes straight to the graveyard. Street Wraith is a permanent, and they say permanent goes to your graveyard from anywhere. Cycling Street Wraith counts as a permanent going to your graveyard. Triggering Barrowglyph, milling over some permanents. If you're triggering Barrowglyph, you're probably winning the game anyway, but we count it. Shadowy Backstreet, surveilling a permanent to the graveyard. That counts. Wasteland actually counts twice if you target your own Shadowy Backstreet. As Wasteland activates, goes to the graveyard as a cost, Moonshadow gets bigger. Then Shadowy Backstreet dies, Moonshadow gets bigger again. Just a little burst of power and toughness if you're in a pinch and want to get it done. Sacking Dothy Voidwalker to use its ability. That puts a permanent in the graveyard. You get it. Lots of permanents that can delete themselves to make our creature bigger. And that is Inside a Shell that's mostly just trying to hit your opponent's face. Thoughtseize, mildly disruptive. Wasteland, mildly disruptive. Bowmasters and Dothy Voidwalker, potentially mildly disruptive, depending on what your opponent's up to. Just a bunch of mildly disruptive, efficient cards at doing what they're doing, while you steadily apply pressure to your opponent. Squeaky clean, love it. This is Moonshadow midrange from Claire. Go check out the Tolarian Community College Drive. Trans rights, let's do it. I'm on the draw in round 1. I'm going to keep my hand. It does the thing. Unfortunately, being on the draw is just strictly terrible with this deck. It's just a deck that would prefer to be on the play at all times. Sometimes there's matchups where the extra card is helpful, or it doesn't matter that much, or, whatever. This is a deck that would just always rather be on the play, 100% of outcomes. Okay, Ponder. I could Thoughtseize first, see what's going on over there, but I think I want to get this Moonshadow heating up. Yeah, I don't have a Bauble, unfortunately, or a Street Wraith, which could fend off Bowmaster. If this is like Bug Beans or something, getting Moonshadow picked off by a Bowmaster would be the most embarrassing outcome here. Okay, we're just getting show and told. That's so much worse. Okay, good. They had to waste time stocking up. That's good, good, good. That lets me get this Thoughtseize into the mix. If I draw Wasteland and get to Thoughtseize them, I'm actually doing something. That was a scary moment. Oh my god. Call the cops. Okay. I'm going to Thoughtseize you first, so I know if Wasteland's even important. Formidable Speaker, that's cool. There's 2 show and tells there. Formidable Speaker can get a new Atraxa. I see what you're cooking with. If I take this Brainstorm, all right, I got to think here. I could take Atraxa, which makes show and tell stinkier. I could take Brainstorm, which makes their hand worse. It's not a show and tell, and it's not a Formidable Speaker. It's either Brainstorm or Atraxa. Do I think I can keep them off balance long enough to win? Do I think the downside of them changing the hand is worth the upside of them not having the combo? Unfortunately, if Dauthi Voidwalker's in play, Atraxa would be an easy choice, but that's not the world we live in. Okay, so if I take Brainstorm, they land, go, or land, show and tell. Yeah, I think I have to take the Atraxa. Unfortunate. And I do have to waste the Ancient Tomb because there is a island in the hand that could immediately get show and tell back in business. Yeah, just firing off the Brainstorm here, trying to fix the situation that I just made a little awkward. Depending on what their payout is at the end of all of this, like if Sheoldred's Edict, if they cast show and tell in a spot where I have access to Sheoldred's Edict, that might buy me enough room to bash. Though I don't have high hopes for that. Ooh, okay. Brainstorm did not shuffle. Ponder. We're going to see the classic shuffle. Yes, all right. Brainstorm then had used Ponder to shuffle it. Okay, they could be fully reloaded here. Do I think Dauthi Voidwalker is a better card to have in play than a second Moonshadow? No, I do not. Moonshadow. And I'm going to fetch the Surveil land and see if I can spike an additional point of power here. Oh, all right, well, Thoughtseize on top. If they don't go this turn, they're in big trouble. A good chance they go this turn, but I'm going to hope that they don't. If they spend some time formidably speaking, that's great for me. All right. Oh, stock up. Let's go. That's great news. All right. I bought the breathing room I needed, and now these Moonshadows are doing real damage. Also, a cool thing about permanents going to the graveyard from anywhere. If they Force of Will my Dauthi Voidwalker, that's a permanent going into the graveyard. Okay. I'm going to go land Dauthi. I'm not playing around Daze, and Force of Will is going to annoy me anyway. Oh, they're thinking about it. There's a pause here. A fetch, grow the squad, Thoughtseize. Okay, there are 2 Force of Wills, 1 show and tell, and they have recently shuffled. So this is, they did bury one of the show and tells. Oh, awesome that they didn't fight over any of this with Force of Will. All right, I mean, I'm taking show and tell. And we got them dead in 2 hits here. That stock up has to come up with Force plus, or not Force plus blue card. It needs show and tell plus payoff. There's Boseiju. Oh my god, it was a Lorwyn all along. We're so dead. Wow. All right. Sick. Well, that was the top deck because they did not know the top of the deck, but we are dead. Wow, that was awesome. Okay. I think I actually did hear about this league, or this deck. I think Pokemoki sent me a screenshot of this. I didn't recognize it in time. Show and tell a Lorwyn hybrid. That's terrifying. Opposition Agent, definitely good against their deck. Damping Sphere is insane against a Lorwyn, and mid against show and tell. I don't think I'll be fatal pushing much here. Man, that's so annoying. They were drawing randomly off the top, and it had to be a Lorwyn there. Okay. Good job, good job. Good rips. Good beats. Fatal push out. I like the speed. A Sheoldred's Edict. Do I want an out to a resolved Atraxa, or do I just accept that that's not a game I'm winning and bring in sideboard cards instead? Right, I've already got my Oppos. Chains. Chains is good against Brainstorm and Ponder. It doesn't stop a Lorwyn or show and tell or stock up. I could shave some of these Street Wraiths and Baubles. Those are, and we get kind of the 52 card deck experience where we see cards more often if we're just cycling off other stuff. But if heating up Moonshadow, if +1 on Moonshadow doesn't meaningfully change the clock, or I'm not trying to get ahead of their combat objects, I can see that being mediocre. Barrowglyph's actually really slow for this matchup, which is a weird thing to say because Barrowglyph is just the GOAT of Legacy right now, defining all the rules of engagement. Do it want? this last edict, do I want to pretend I can ever answer an Atraxa, or do I just want to fuck it and hope that Menace Creatures get it done? Menace Creatures and Meaningful Disruption. And my deck has Street Wraith and Mishra's Wobble in it. What am I doing with these chains? No thanks. Okay, I'm off that. I think I'm actually going to cut a Wraith for an Edict back in, all things considered. Okay, here we go. I'm against a combo deck with multiple angles to fire from. I will not be keeping this hand with 0 black mana. This hand is mediocre, but I am going to run it. Do I bottom Barrowglaive or Swamp? That's actually close. I'll put Swamp on the bottom. Misty Rainforest, Lotus Petal. Uh-oh, are we going? If I top deck Dark Ritual here, I get a lot of action with Thoughtseize. Check their hand or develop Voidwalker. Alright, Voidwalk with me. If they show and tell, put in a Lorwyn, and I put in Oppo Agent, that could blow out their formidable speaker lines. A Brainstorm. They're not quite ready to go for it yet. We are in the Veil of Summer potential zone here. Okay, they're not playing around Oppo at all. I'm going to play Wasteland and just attack. I'm not going to Thoughtseize them. I think Oppoing this land puts a real amount of pressure on them that I'm actually interested in. There's a fetch. Here's Oppo. We're in there. Okay, played around Veil of Summer correctly. Show and tell can't actually do anything here. Okay, that's pretty bad. Do I want a Surveil land or a land that taps for mana immediately? Let's look at this deck. We've got 2 Veil of Summers, 4 Formidable Speakers, 3 Atraxas, 4 Show and Tell, 4 Aloran, 1 Acererak. And if I ever snag this Acererak, then the Aloran lines just collapse. There's no follow-up. Okay, cool. I guess I want Hedge Maze. I'll take the additional card selection down the road. Oh no, Magic Online didn't give me my my hand window. I guess I'm supposed to screenshot that. They'll probably just cast Stock Up this turn, but I have the Wasteland ready to spike that. Okay, taking it a little slower. Fetch lands don't work. Formidable Speakers don't work. I mean, they're still a 2/4. You don't have to discard. You can just play it out, I guess. Shuffled Ponder. Okay, good. That was Stock Up. If that was Show and Tell, I would have tilted off the earth. But I did just punch a hole for Thoughtseize. Like, Thoughtseize Wasteland is huge this turn. What do I have in the Void here? I have my own Stock Up. If I get a Force of Will into the Void, that's pretty sweet. They Pluto Delta, Thoughtseize you. If they found an Atraxa, I'll just cast that shit. They Force Pitching Ponder. I accept. I can't not accept. There's no counterspells in the Void. Wasteland your City of Traders. Now we're just getting over the finish line. That's the job. Opponent's at 9. There is a Force of Will in the Void now that I could pump the brakes to hold up. Maybe I should have done that last turn. Did I blow it? Oh, Show and Tell. I guess I'll put in Barrowglaive. That's something that could bully an Atraxa. Omniscience, pretty scary. Is it good enough? This could be a spot where that card just doesn't do enough. Maybe I should have left up Voidwalker that turn with the Force in the bank. Yeah, I think I punted this game, but I didn't get punished. Whoops. Right, they know about Opposition Agent now. I don't think that changes anything. Let's do it. Same deck. Except now I'm on the draw where it's worse. And my opponent's deck rules so hard, I would not be surprised if I release it later this week. Claire gave me a whole week of leagues to do whatever I want, and that's kind of what I want to be doing. I'm going to mulligan this non-interactive, no mana hand. Oh, here we go. Double Dark Ritual. Okay, double Writ gets me... That's 5 mana. I could go Thothy plus Damping Sphere. I could also go single Writ. Yeah, I think the lands are a better investment than a bigger turn one. If I draw Oppo and get them with the Dark Ritual, oh my god. Oh my god. Sweet, Merciful Poseidon. Alright, I'm gonna pass. We're doing it. We're having a fight. Dark Ritual Oppo. Old school middle finger. Wow. Alright, opponent does have a handful of lands. Alright. Show and Tell, Omniscience, Ponder are all solid cards. I'll take a Hedge Maze. We got a not cool in the chat. Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good draw. But you're drawing a land. Don't worry about it. You'll be fine. A Orcish Bowmaster. My opponent's hand is Ponder, Show and Tell, Omniscience. So now it's Omniscience, Show and Tell, and lands. Unfortunately, they do have 3 lands to cast Show and Tell, so this is not enough. Show and Tell, they put in Omni, I put in Damping Sphere, will buy me a turn to play. Shuffle the library, good news. The second Oppo. I think I believe in Voidwalker more than I believe in Bowmaster here. It just hits harder more reliably, and it makes Thoughtseize bigger. Like if I get... if I draw a Thoughtseize and I get an Omniscience, that's sweet. Oh, well, we're gaming. Okay, Show and Tell. Damping Sphere will make them unable to do anything else this turn, but they do get to do a lot starting next turn. Moonshadow, you're a little late to the party, mi amigo. All right, I'm going to attack. Opponent can cast 2 spells next turn, and I'm going to hold off on Bowmaster, because playing it on their turn when they're already committed, like if their hand is just Ponder, that kind of rules. We got an Atraxa. That one's a lot worse for me. I guess I'll Bowmaster now before the Atraxa trigger, if my job is to inflict 10 more damage to them before they figure this out. Show and Tell, Omni, Ponder, Speaker. The Speaker costs 1 and the next spell costs 2. Oh, they do get a land also. But City of Traders and Ancient Tomb both only tap for 1. Right, Speaker, Omni, Petal, Tomb, Stock Up, Veil. Stock Up costs 1. That is now in the void, if I find that useful, which I mostly don't. Squad, it's hard to beat an active Omniscience, I'm not going to lie to you. I think actually, like, my opponent found City of Traders to get the 3 mana 1 turn earlier. I think if this happens 1 turn later, I'm fine. Tropical Island. They get 1 more spell this turn. Can I rip those Sheoldred's Edicts I left in the deck? I have to discard 3 cards, which do go into the void. Gotta be careful with those. Just a bunch of lands. Fair enough. Wasteland. Dauthi Voidwalker is not going to win a race heads up versus Atraxa. It's just not a thing. Can Moonshadow help? Right, if I go Wasteland, Moonshadow, I'm dead in 3 hits. They're gaining life, but if I'm able to push my unblockable creatures to respectable heights, they're floating a green. They might just cycle off Veil of Summer here, but you don't need mana to do that. You have Omniscience. Oh, well, that's icky. All right, I would like to use this ability. I'll get Shadowy Backstreet. That triggers Moonshadow, and I might be able to trigger Shadow again here. Nope, not with Dark Ritual. Okay, Boseiju in the Void. Unfortunately, I don't get to use that. I could play Boseiju as a land. I cannot channel it from the Void, which is what I really need to be doing here. All right, so they have unlimited spells again. They still can't search the deck, though, which is an important piece of this puzzle. 13 to 11. I need something really big to happen for this race to be remotely playable. Formidable Speaker. Now they can block a menace creature. Oh. Oh. Do you have to do this? You may discard a card. They forgot about Oppo? Alright, well. I have access to something here. Asterek doesn't help. Formidable Speaker doesn't help. Oh, we got an O right in the chat. Yeah. How do I leverage this? And if I exile Azarak, they can't combo off anymore. But they can't combo anyway. Or they could stock up into Azarak. Alright, yeah, I guess I'll make sure at least that angle of the deck is gone. Stock up. Another stock up. Yeah, they just stock a Force of Will into the hand where they can counter an Edict if I draw it, but now they have Speaker, they can beat Edict anyway. Yeah, this game is... I don't think it's actually winnable. Ooh, you're going to discard a card? I think they'll decline this time. Yep, good call. Yeah, 2/4 creatures, who could beat those? Basically impossible. Yeah, I will not be casting Azarak because that returns to its owner's hand, and then I lose immediately. Okay, so this game can't be won by attacking, or I just can't beat Atraxa. These speakers are too much. I'll play Hedge Maze, I guess. Put Wasteland in the graveyard, which grows Moonshadow. And then I'll cast Stock Up, which also grows Moonshadow. But this gives up my unblockable creature. Right, cast Stock Up without paying its mana cost. And had a Force. Alright. I couldn't beat that even without the Force, but GG's. This deck is awesome, and it's a particularly heinous matchup for what I'm doing. GG's opponent, on to the next round. The BoshNRoll channel is brought to you by Tales of Adventure. TOAMagic.com has almost 100,000 unique cards in stock. They offer free track shipping on every order, plus next day or 2-day options when you have an event coming up fast. They offer on-site pickup at major Magic events throughout the US, so you're never scrambling before your tournament. Stop by their booth to buy, sell, or trade at upcoming regional championships, Magic Con, Spotlight Series, and more. I love their selection of individually scanned high-end cards that show you exactly what you're buying. And the best part is saving 5% on every order with promo code BOSH. From Ancestral Recall to Zombie Master, get what you need quickly and in one place at TOAMagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the play in round 2. Hand's a little land heavy, but I am going to run with it. It's going to heat up this Moonshadow and hope it can deal 7 3 times. There are only 18 lands in the deck, and 7 of them are represented here. Mishra's Bauble. Bobbling me. Is it a good card? Volcanic Island. Disappointing. Okay. It triggers itself. That's so funny. A little technical rules knowledge there. Paying off. For someone, not for me. Ooh, Bowmaster. Well, they know about this guy. Well, they knew about Bowmaster and still bolted Moonshadow. That must mean they have answers for that. I'm just going to push this DRC before it does anything. Another fatal push. Okay, I'm going to play Bloodstained Mire, and I'm going to pass. And I'm going to be careful not to get got by the Daze trick, which is if I play Orcish Bowmaster without cracking this Bloodstained Mire, they can Wasteland the Mire. I fetch in response, they daze me well, with the fetch on the stack. Okay, Quarry Steel Cutter. Hard to interact with that one. But the Wasteland is tapped, so... Oh, I am not going to Flash and Bowmaster in the end step, because if they were saving a Force of Will for it, that would trigger Quarry Steel Cutter. Alright, Street Wraith straight to the graveyard. We save 2 life on that same interaction. Bauble. Okay. Bauble, target me. I'd like to know if the top card of my deck's any good. It's Wasteland. My opponent did miss a land drop. Yikes. Okay. That's tough. If I could get it now, I'd be very interested in it. I don't know if I'm interested in giving up a whole turn for it, though. But screwing them off being able to play the game might be something I'm into here. Okay, I'm going to play Swamp and pass. I will bank this Wasteland. Bauble. There is 1 trigger for Quarry Steel Cutter, bobbling me. Delver of Secrets wakes up the Monk. Okay, well, I have to force anyway, because Daze isn't live here. So I will go for this Bowmaster in the end step, where it's minimally harmful. They have to have Force of Will. They've already cast 2 spells a turn. They've already attacked me. No prowess trigger. Yeah, okay. Makes sense that they'd have that. Okay, do I want to push in the end step as well? I think I do, and I'm going to take out Delver. The opponent has this Bauble trigger. I get a draw. Children's Edict. That can name Token. Should I so desire? You know what? Let's do it. Each opponent sacrifices a creature token of their choice. Have to pick the correct mode on that one. Alright, please miss your land drop and pass the turn. That's what I want from you. Let's go. Alright, they've got 4 spells in hand. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. One of them better be Force of Will, because this is the guy for this matchup. We're in. Oh, I think we just turned the corner. They'd have to draw a red source right now and have Unholy Heat already in the hand. Uh-oh. Well, that's half the battle. Okay, cool. We are gaming. I'm going to save this fetch because it can grow Moonshadow or turn on Fatal Push. But those are about all it does. Alright, I'm going to play Voidwalker pre-combat because chewing up stuff from their graveyard if they decide to start chump blocking is actually relevant in this matchup. Alright, I'm in with Barrowgoyf. Mill 4, yes, there's so many creatures in my deck. Banked another Barrowgoyf. Take that. And pass. Alright, so now they would need to go land Murktide. Ponder, alright. That's a spell. Does end up in the void. They found land number 2 off of a no shuffle. Murktide region is the one that could maybe still turn this around. Just gonna attack, see what happens. Alright, they're ready to start blocking now. That's too many Barrowgoyfs. Alright, here's another one. Daze, fetch. Or are we a Stifle deck? Or is this a double daze, or just bolt my Voidwalker, get a Core Steel trigger? What are we doing here? Okay, double daze, trigger Core Steel. I accept. That puts them so far behind Murktide Regent that I'm not even mad about it. They do still have a blue floating. Bobble you. Okay, scooping before I could see the top of the deck. That's fair. A Chains of Mephistopheles. That's pretty solid against Delver. And losing life for no real gain is pretty bad against Delver. I think that's all the adjustment I'm going to make. I don't like Leyline of the Void versus Delver. I'd have to really believe that Street Wraith and Bauble are just terrible, and I don't believe that. I guess I could bring in some Oppos. Like, if losing life is bad, and I'm bringing in Chains, and I just need something that might do anything, Oppo Agent, they are fetch land centric. This is a creature. I don't know. I don't really think Opposition Agent is good against Delver, but I do think I want to take these 4 Street Wraiths out of the deck. Nice, keep. I do think that if I were trying to beat Delver, just on a strategic level, I would start with putting 4 Barrowglyphs in my 75, and this deck is already there. Well, this is interesting. I could Dark Ritual Thoughtseize Bowmaster, or I could save some of that for later. Nah, let's go. It could daze this Dark Ritual, but then they're back a land, and I'm playing slow anyway. Okay. Got me with the daze, passed the turn. Yeah, just didn't use that blue for anything. I accept. I came up with a Dragon's Rage Channeler. I've already tested daze. Do I want to just send it on the Bowmaster here, or is it Thoughtseize time? Problem is I'm not doing very much. Developing Moonshadow, that isn't even going anywhere. Voidwalker and Bowmaster are both solid here. I'm going to just play the card that I think I want to resolve the most, having already checked them for days once. And we're in. Fear is the Mind Killer. Jam into days, you'll be fine. My next land is going to be an important one to get these Barrowglyphs going, or to double spell. Bolting Bowmaster, yep. Fair enough. Kept a card on top. That guy again. Alright, well, I'll play him. Didn't have a good answer last turn. What have you found in between? Looks like nothing. Does not have Delirium. Attack. Murktide is, as always, a little stressful. It would be 5/5 if it shows up here. But cantrips are bad right now. Core Steel Cutter. And the best way to keep Cutter going is cantrips. So the Bowmaster is part of a package there. I honestly think my opponent has shown me so much weakness in their hand that I'm just going to play threats rather than Thoughtseize them. Okay, there was another daze. Sure. I accept. So that was clearly drawn this turn. Their hand is Volcanic Island and a card that, well, they must have drawn Bauble this turn. So they drew Daze last turn, Bauble this turn. That's the only thing that makes sense given the sequencing with the Cutter and like letting Bowmaster resolve, not triggering Cutter. It's fun when you're able to see everything that your opponent's done for the game. Oh, this Ponder's been in their hand for a couple turns. Ponder shuffled. They're looking for that Murktide Regent here to close it out. And I'm looking for the means to cast Barrowglyph. Attack you. And I think here I do want to Thoughtseize, just whatever's going on over there, let's get a look at it. My life total's high, my hand is good. Brainstorming in response is a disaster. Yeah. Force of Will versus Brainstorm. Do I want to invite them to cast this Brainstorm into my Bowmaster, or leave them with Force? You know what? Cast Brainstorm. I dare you. Netherglyph, get in. Bobbling in response. Oh, there's a little bit of interest into playing into the Bowmaster. I mean, you just have to at some point. It's not like there's a ton of decisions to be made here. Chain Lightning. All right. That was as good a draw as there could be. I still have better stats than their whole board going on here. If they can attack with a 2/2 and a 3/3 this turn, but Netherglyph is bigger than those, and they're at 8 on the backswing. Yeah, just not even attacking. The old defensive Core Steel Cutter. You love to see it. Oh. Okay, put them to 1 or play Moonshadow and have a spell. I'm going to play Moonshadow. And attack. I'm going to save a Fatal Push. Just a little chump block there. And I'm actually going to push this now. So if they fight over to defend it, like if they have the 4th days or something, then at least prowess won't trigger on their turn. Ponder. 1 spell. Shuffle. Soul Guide Lantern. Okay. That can make Nethergoyf a 0. But I could get it back to 1 in combat with Fatal Push. That is a way to buy another turn. Opponent still has to block the Orc Army or they die. Oh, okay. They're dead anyway. Alright, so I just attack. They have to block Orc Army. Wait, they're just dead if I Fatal Push. Sorry for the slow roll, opponent. Here you go. Had it anyway. We got the GGs. This matchup actually felt really solid. We're just so dummy thick with our creatures. 4 Barrowglyphs, all these basic lands. I guess if you want to be solid into Izzet Delver, this is a good place to be. On to the next round. This video is sponsored by Moxfield.com, the easiest way to build Magic decks online. Moxfield supports over 30 formats, including Legacy and everything else you'll see on this channel. There's multiple customizations so you can interact with your deck how you want. Views such as text, grid, or stacks, and groupings like type, subtype, color, color identity, even artist. The site offers light mode, dark mode, and so much more. However you want to see your deck, Moxfield can provide it for you. Follow my Moxfield to keep up with the channel and what I'm playing in paper. I'll see you there. I'm on the draw for round 3. Hand is pretty sweet. I am going to keep. I have my burst action, which is Dark Ritual, and I have my control action, which is Voidwalker and Wasteland. Opponent's on a Multi 6. Prismatic Vista. Okay, that's good against Wasteland and Barrowglyph. I think I should take a setup turn here, get my Surveil land, and try to have a better turn 2. A classic control seems like a stressful place to be as a deck that's just trying to hit with creatures. Bauble. I'm going to dump that. Keeping it is not worth the information, and I just shortcut getting the card. A Wasteland. I think I'm just going to cast Dothy Voidwalker. Heads up. Roll heads up 7-up right here. Basic Island. Spell Snare. Let's go. Alright, I'm hoping my opponent fetches like a Surveil land or something here, gets my Wasteland some action. There we go. This is probably some kind of Stoneforge Mystic strategy. Just trying to think of who is playing Spell Snare in 2026. Oh my god. Oh, that's fucked up. Alright, yeah, I would have kept that on top as well. Alright, Triumph of St. Cath is in. I do have a 4 or 5 Barrowglyph. We could tangle. We could game. I've got a 3/4 Netherglyph as well. Okay, Wasteland in Reticulous Archive. Dark Ritual. Barrowglyph. Netherglyph. Alright, stats up. Stats are up, boys. We're actually winning a race versus Triumph of St. Catherine. Like, if they attack, I attack, and they net 1 damage, I net 3. Okay, not anymore. Showing me what Swords of Plowshares does. I've heard of the card. You can settle down. Oh no, another one? Brainstorm first. Okay. Tapped white and then untapped it and tapped for Brainstorm. Spell Snare, standard legal now, thanks to Lorwyn Eclipsed, by the way. I got Spell Snared in draft the other day. That was cool. Prismatic Ending. Alright, Coast is clear to tee off. I'm not a deck that folds to a 5/5. Like, I do have bigger creatures and some removal. Like, if I can Wasteland my opponent off functionality and just stabilize with a Barrowglyph at 4 life or whatever, that's a game I can play. I don't have infinite time to figure this out, but it's not the worst. Volcanic Island. Alright, the 3rd Wasteland finds a home. But I do need to be doing something. That's not it. Wasteland again. Even Bowmaster functionally gains me 10 life here to figure out the next step. Tameo. Okay. She's less scary when the opponent has not enough lands to even crack a clue. Come on, Bowmaster. Alright, now it's getting shitty. I still have a lot of good draws, but Edict is off the table now, which was one that I was looking for. What's that? 37 life. Even if I do turn the corner, I got work to do. I think thinning my deck here to find action is more important than what if I draw Moonshadow. Alright, Netherglyph. You're in, big guy. You're not big enough to actually beat Triumph of St. Catherine, but you can chump block and return to the battlefield at least once. Ponder. Shuffle. Oh no, the land. Well, I'm required to block. That's the law. Big Rips. Dark Ritual, that's not it. Okay, 1, 2, 3. Exile a land, an artifact, a creature, and an instant. This Goyf will come back teeny tiny. Yeah, that Spell Snare actually broke this game. As if I had Dauthi Voidwalker in play, I could have sent a Swords to Plowshares back at the Triumph, and then this game would be a laugher. I'm going to crack and a fetch. Seem to be out of white sources, or just not that interested in them. Alright, I'm going to 1. Nowhere left to hide. Big Rip, Sparrowgoyf. Moonshadow. I guess I have to keep playing. Though, I can't fetch to make this any bigger. It's just a jumper. Okay. They're willing to Force of Will that. Fair enough. Okay, a Jeskai control deck with Triumph of St. Catherine. I like Chains, I like Oppo. Fatal Push clearing Tamiyo matters quite a bit, but also I'm a deck that can hit Tamiyo harder than normal. Though I did suspect Stoneforge Mystic, Felia. I didn't get to see any of those cards. And seeing Triumph in the deck, I don't know if it necessarily eliminates those cards that I'm talking about, but it is weird to have all of that going on. I think I should leave in some pushes. I'm going to go some Wraiths, some pushes out. I could go all the Wraiths out and get these Oppos in. Alright. I think Oppo's good enough as just another thing that does anything. I will keep this hand. I don't love that it is 1 land. I do love that it interacts well. Okay, Bauble. Target you. Force of Will on top of the deck. Okay, so it's a good time to cast Thoughtseize. Or I could cast Netherglyph, but I think Thoughtseize is a better way to start here. 4th Aerolingus, 2 basic lands, Redirect Lightning. Oh, I'm glad I started with Thoughtseize. Yikes. I could take Lingus, so it's gone. I could take Ponder, because that makes their cantrips a lot worse. Alright, I'm going to take Ponder. And I'm going to really hope I draw a land here. A Bauble. That's like a land, but worse. It might be a land one day. Alright, ripping off Brainstorm in the main phase to play around Orcish Bowmasters, a card that I do have. Another Bowmaster. You do not love to see it. Bauble you again. Plateau. That means that Redirect Lightning and 4th Aerolingus are both cards I have to think about now. Oh wow, Force Pitching Brainstorm. They're really going for it here. Seems like correctly identified that I'm weak. Sheoldred's Edict. Another Brainstorm. Alright, Brainstorm found Brainstorm. That's a lot of that going on. I kind of expect them to just play Plateau this turn. Okay. They've decided to play around Wasteland rather than potentially use the Redirect Lightning. Come on, deck. Yeah, Magic's easy. Always had it. Okay. Voidwalker is tough into Redirect Lightning, but it's pretty good into 4th Aerolingus. I think I might go Upkeep Bowmaster. No, it's better to let them Lingus. And with 2 Bowmasters, I can make them play around it for a turn. Oh, wow. Teferi. Well, that card's not very good against Orcish Bowmaster either. Hey, 1 to you. Blessing Teferi. Really the only reasonable thing to do in the face of Bowmaster. I could Edict the Teferi, or I could put it to 1. Yeah, I think I like piling on Bowmasters here, because that Redirect Lightning is so good against them. Attack Teferi. I think I can actually beat a medium-sized 4th Aerolingus here. Plateau. Teferi. Yeah, they can instant speed Lingus. Okay, I'm going to bauble their hand first. If they want to Redirect Lightning, that's fine. Okay, Brainstorm on top. That's a good card for me to know about. Orc Army. Right, Orc Army is going to attack Teferi alone. It's enough to kill it if they don't do anything, and I'm happy trading off with a horse. Okay, and nobody's going to get the Monarch. Well, that won't be part of the game. Double block. Alright, playing around removal that I cannot play. Okay, that's handled, and then I like having a Voidwalker in the mix. Unblockable creature, handles Teferi next turn. They've got Redirect Lightning, they're drawing Brainstorm. They could cast Brainstorm and use Redirect Lightning to kill one of my Bowmasters, but they do still take 1 trillion damage. Okay, Swords to Plowshares, prioritizing that guy. And Shieldred's Edict is each opponent. They cannot redirect lightning that. They could redirect lightning by Fatal Push if I try to do that. Is the Dark Ritual worth 2 spells here? I think it is. Yeah, alright. Dark Ritual. Each opponent sacrifices a creature token of their choice. Play Nethergoyf. And then I'll attack Teferi for 2. This Teferi's running out of places to hide. Nethergoyf is 5/6 somehow. Holy moly. What's in my graveyard? How did we do this? Yeah, I guess I've just drawn one of everything. There's not like a secret Kindred instant or anything. All right, here we go. Bowmaster's going nuts. They're going to use Redirect Lightning to kill one of these, which means I have to put 3 damage on Teferi, and then I'll put the rest of the damage on opponent. Okay. Didn't use Redirect Lightning. Maybe just buried it. If they found a sweeper, they might have just decided that's a better way to do this. If they Wrath of the Skies me here, I'm in trouble. Comet Stellar Pup, game on. All right, let's go. How'd we do? We made 2 squirrels. Okay. Squirrels actually do meaningfully slow down the Bowmasters. I'm going to push one of them while Redirect Lightning's not up. And, all right, Dothy Voidwalker, get in. Okay, attack Comet, attack Comet. I am going to give up on a Bowmaster to make sure Comet dies. This is 7 damage on it no matter what. Okay, and Comet is in the exile zone. I could Voidwalk that. I'm just trying to dodge a sweeper. I don't even mind Triumph that much. It's big, but that's all it is. Opponent has 1 card in hand, which may or may not be Redirect Lightning, because they have Brainstormed. Yeah, give me that Comet. Cast Comet. I will do whatever it is this does. Roll a die, then we'll figure it out. I rolled a 3, which means I return a creature card with mana value 2 or less from my graveyard to my hand. How about that Bowmaster you killed last turn? I like that one. And then I think I'd rather cast Barrowgoyf than the Bowmaster. If I attack with these 2, oh, that opens up Redirect Lightning. I'm going to attack with Nethergoyf. Taking the beats. Barrowgoyf has a forbidden power and toughness that I will not be saying out loud. They're lining up Prismatic Ending mana, it seems like. There's 3 mana of 3 different colors in the pool, and it's going in and out. I have 2 things that kill Triumph in combat, though, so it's not a big deal. I will feed my Orc army to this Meat Grinder. Triumph goes back into the top 7 cards of the deck somewhere. Okay, Comet, do your thing. Whatever your thing is. I rolled a 3 again. I guess I want back Dothy Voidwalker. Run that one out there. And I can Dark Ritual a second Bowmaster into play as a surprise, if that is necessary to do. Kind of just hoping that Triumph is not on the top of the deck right away. Oh no, pause on the draw step, pause on the draw step. Did we get 1 out of 7? We did. We got 1 out of 7. That's okay. I have a 5/6 and a Dothy Voidwalker. I have a lethal attack that can force action on Triumph. Not a big deal. All right, Comet, what do you got for me? I've got some hasty squirrels. I think I'm going to attack with the 5/6 and the 3/2. This is the arrangement that they have to make a block that's not good for them. If I attack with any of the smaller creatures, they could wash out the Nethergoyf by lifelinking on the little guys. And that's not what I want to do. This puts Triumph into the void. Wasteland, target your plateau. Can't even redirect it with lightning. Not that they would, but it's not an option. And I'm chilling here with a Bowmaster still in the bank. I don't have double white for any sweepers. Meticulous Archive. Feed the void, feed the void. All right, Comet Stellar Pup, MVP in my mono black mid-range deck. I am comfortable with the sideboard plan that I have. It does not appear to be getting any better. Okay, slow and steady. I'll keep it. Despite their basic land count, I actually do like Wasteland. If they're not in a position to fetch basics, or if at some point they have to get one, like they could probably get 1 or 2, but if land number 3 they're relying on it, I can clip it. That's pretty sweet. Ripping a Dark Ritual here. Always the nuts with Oppo Agent. Bowmaster, happy to see that. I'll get my Surveil on with this Bloodstained Mire. That's its only job. Backstreet is back. Barrowgoyf to my hand, just packing up things that do anything. I'm showing Bowmaster or Edict here. Next turn I'm showing Oppo. The Oppo plus Wasteland Brutality Squeeze. All right, you've got Teferi, I've got Bowmaster. The classic matchup. You've got Force of Will, alright. But I have Shieldred's Edict. cashing in the card right away. Smart. Right, that means I don't have to Edict right away. I can cast 2 spells? That's more than I was going to cast. I could also just cast Barrowgoyf. Yeah, I guess I'll just cast Barrowgoyf here. Or no, I'm going to Edict. Each opponent sacrifices a Planeswalker. And I'm going to hold up Dark Ritual Oppo. That's the one. I'm going for cheese mode. They just spent a Force of Will on something. Oh, on Supreme Verdict. Oh no. Don't have that. Not now. Not like this. I was really hoping they had to fetch for black. If they go 2 aggro here. Okay, sweet. Oppo can take back the Monarch. And then Barrowgoyf can try to hold it. That's the plan, at least. I do this now before they draw a card. And that raw red source straight from the hand. Okay, Oppo's in. You draw a card. I draw a card. Thoughtseize. I'm the Monarch. I think Thoughtseize is better than Wasteland here. Well, I'm going to Thoughtseize them and find out, I guess, is how I should say that. Thoughtseize you. Show me 4 fetch lands in hand. Oh no! 2 plows. That's more than I wanted. Redirect Lightning also works in the future against this Wasteland. All right, well, I'll take a plow. Just got to start working through those and then play Barrowgoyf. Okay, Monarch, deliver me a good one. No, that's not a good one. I even have a non-basic in play, so Redirect Lightning is live. Oh, fetch, please forget, and fetch. Okay, Cloud Barrowgoyf. 1 horse should attack here. Yep, bummer. Okay, I'm looking for something to push this back, and that hand was so good. Oh! All right, I think the corner is turned, and I don't know how I win anymore. I guess I need them to mess up and just forget what Opposition Agent does a number of times. I suspect this deck plays 1 4th Aerolingus and 3 red sources, and they had both in their hand on the turn where it mattered. All right, GG. I'm not coming back from this. I don't really want to play this kind of matchup, but I will say that was also just like a really good spread for what they were doing. GG's. On to the next one. The BoshNRoll channel is proudly partnered with the Resleevables. In this YouTube series, hosts Patrick Sullivan and Patrick Chapin go set by set through Magic's past, leveraging their decades of experience as Pro Tour players and game designers to analyze the good, the bad, and the ugly of Magic's history. Each episode is a deep dive into the facts, mechanics, cycles, trivia, decks of the time, and historical context of the set. The hosts dig into notable cards of the era and their lasting impact today. Each set gets an award show where the hosts pick their favorite cards for categories such as Best, Worst, and Weirdest. And finally, give a letter grade for the set's overall success. Whether you want a history lesson or a nostalgia hit, The Resleevables has it at youtube.com/TheResleevables. I'm on the draw in round 4. I'm going to keep first appearance of Moonshadow in a long time. I feel like this did a lot in round 1, and then we went 2 full rounds without even looking at it. Oh my goodness. All right, I'm going to go Buck here. Dark Ritual. Thoughtseize you. Street Wraith, Force of Will, Consider. If I take Consider, I also take one of the Force of Wills, so I'll do that. Moonshadow. All right, we are fetching in response, probably surveilling to see where things are going. This has to be Doomsday. Nobody else plays Street Wraith and Consider. Ooh, we got green take on Doomsday. Cycling Street Wraith. Right, how many of these can you tolerate? You let the first one resolve. Days, good find. All right, well, that triggers the first one, and then Mishra's Bauble triggers it again. And you're drawing another Force of Will. All right, well, I hope it's too late for that. Hand is 3 Force of Wills, a Swamp, and an Undercity Sewers right now. And I have Wasteland. Moonshadow Coast to Coast. I am going to trigger Shadow every turn of this game with the fetch lands and everything. Oh yeah. A turn 2 win. We did it. We're playing against Doomsday. Oppo Agent, among the nastiest things you can do to a Doomsday player. Chains of Mephistopheles, they don't like that either. I think Fatal Push can come out. They sometimes have Tamios. I've seen Hexing Squelcher in builds. Sometimes they pivot into a full creature plan, but I'll respect that once they show it to me. And I think the Wraiths Race and Fatal Push, normal plan here. It's going to be in effect. Been doing that a lot. All right, a Dark Ritual start. I'm going to keep... They're on the play where Daze works. All right, well, that turns off Nethergoyf, but I mostly don't care that much about that card. Swamp Pass. I'm going to try to writ out this Oppo agent, because Daze is off. They have to have Force of Will here to not get smoked. Dark Ritual. Oppo. Can we follow up our turn 2 win with a turn 1 win? Doomsday, 3 fetchlands, Barragoyf is their ad. Put that in my belly. I'm going to take the only green source in their deck off of this thing. Wow. Turn 1 win, let's go. Turn 2 win, turn 1 win. Crushed it. On to the final round. We're a few rounds into the video. If you're still here and having fun, remember to hit that subscribe button. And if you want to play what I'm playing, use code BOSH for 5% off your order at toamagic.com. Eternal lives here. I'm on the draw in the final round in a matchup where I hope Wasteland is good. I am going to keep my hand. We're going to go straight to the Moonshadow. Uh-oh, it's the mirror match. I don't have snow basics, so if this is a copied deck from somewhere, it's not my list, or this list. It's not my list. It came from the trophy dumps. It's not this list. Who's playing Snow Swamps? Is this Pokemoki's bug list? Pokemoki likes playing Snowlands. I think he explained to me once it's just because he can, like, search for snow covered on MTGO and get all 5 of the Snowlands in one spot, rather than having to search each one by one. Okay, Dark Ritual put a lot of juice on the board very quickly. If my opponent is Reanimator combo, which I'm trying to think of decks that would have basic Swamp and Thoughtseize in them, having this Voidwalker down is nice. I also sequenced it with Moonshadow first, so if they've counterspelled the Voidwalker, Shadow grows. Sad. Alright, well, Moonshadow dies, but Voidwalker is going nuts here, and I have the Wasteland, I have the push. Oh wow, that Street Wraith would have been such a blowout. Truly tragic. Just beating that ass with all these interactions. This cheap interaction. I could play around the next Bowmaster by cycling Street Wraith now, but I don't really need velocity. Like, I want to kind of see what they're doing first. Fatal Push. Alright, disappointing. And I'll give myself one chance to draw Moonshadow. Okay, well. What could I draw that's better than Bowmaster here? I think the answer is nothing. I want to miss a land drop. Just going for the... Whatever's happening here, it's scrappy and small and I like it. Okay, they have no play. Okay, Voidwalker is actually a reason to cycle, because untapped land is nice. Cycle Wraith. Oh man, alright, well... Squeezed on both colored and raw mana count here. My next mana is quite good. Alright, do you have another basic? Is this just Dimir Tempo who chose to register Snow-Covered Swamp? Could be. Ponder. Alright, they gotta play into Bowmaster. That's good news for me. A sign of weakness. And if this is Dimir Tempo, it means their next land is wastable. They only play 2 basics. Did not shuffle Ponder. Alright, deck. It's a big turn to be able to develop anything. Damn it. Okay. Falling apart a little bit here. They tapped and then untapped their mana. Both of it kind of reads like Bowmaster, but they're deciding when they're going to play it. Okay, it's not Bowmaster if they're pondering first. Okay, 1 to you. Didn't shuffle the Ponder again. Flooded Strand. Nethergoyf. Okay, that means I can Wasteland. That's exciting. And I'm going to attack with both, because Bowmaster is kind of the thing I think they have here. And I'm just going to try to get Nethergoyf over. Oh, shoot the Sheriff. Yeah, that's fine. Turns out Orc Army is in fact a cop. And I'll play around Daze with my Nethergoyf and then waste them. I do kind of believe in the Wasteland here over trying to get to Barragoyf. My next land casts Voidwalker. I can push a Bowmaster out of them. If they go land Murktide right now, I don't like that. If they have to brainstorm, bow, 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 I do like that. Yeah, they just spent their whole turn shooting my Sheriff and then lightning bolting themselves to give me my Sheriff right back. Sometimes Bowmaster runs uncontested over a blue deck. Okay, Chains I like. I think I'm going to go +2 Chains, -2 Wraith, and I'm not going to bring in the Oppos this time. Oh, I said that last time too, and I was lying then. Okay. I'll bring in 1 Oppo. I actually do kind of like the Wraith, because that would have been such a sweet thing to have in that that spot where they tried to ping my Moonshadow. Though against a Bowmaster deck, maybe I just shouldn't have Wraiths in at all. I don't know. Too late now. I've hit submit. Mulligan this hand that doesn't cast spells. Keep this hand that does. And I think I'm going to bottom... It's one of the lands. Is it Swamp or Fetch? I think Swamp goes to the bottom. The Fetch shuffles that Swamp back into the deck where I can draw it, and it gives Nethergoyf stats, and it gives me the opportunity to rip Moonshadow and do something with it. Flooded Strand, playing scared on the basic. Tamio's pretty good, though. Hey. Alright, I'm going to lead on Nethergoyf, which stinks a little bit because if they have Bowmaster, they get to pick it off, but if they had Bowmaster, they could pick off Moonshadow too, and I guess Moonshadow is a better one to lead on. Would I rather have Moonshadow potentially attacking as a larger creature next turn, or would I rather, if they have removal, kill Nethergoyf with it? And I would rather, the answer is yes to both, but I guess if I'm testing this Dimir Tempo decks, Daze, Push, Bowmaster, Shoot the Sheriff, Wall of Removal, I would prefer to invest in Nethergoyf and have that picked off. A Thoughtseize, Edict, Barrowgoyf, and Bowmaster are all heaters in the matchup, so it's really just going to be up to my opponent's hand which one of these they're most worried about. As Bowmaster and Edict both help keep Tamio a little bit in line, Barrowgoyf is the trump card later. Okay, they went for Edict. Fatal Push, that's a nice one. Alright, Moonshadow, get in. This gets dazed, but it uses my mana so well that I don't even care. Unfortunately, there's already an instant in my graveyard. Nice. Okay, I have two creatures that are bigger than Bowmaster. My opponent knows I'm holding Bowmaster, which affects how and when they crack this clue, how and when they cantrip, how and when they deploy their Bowmaster, because getting theirs picked off by mine is tough. If they have a Barrowgoyf, that's going to be some work. Okay, yep. If I draw my land, our Barrowgoyfs just touch tips and it's fine. Ooh, Voidwalker. Interesting. I think it's Bowmaster, though that does walk into theirs. Alright, I'll play Voidwalker, actually. And I get to attack with Moonshadow. This one has Menace. Yeah, the Voidwalker means it might be okay if they hit me with Barrowgoyf. They do still get to select a creature out of it, but they're not fueling Murktide, and they are dumping a bunch of stuff into the Void that I could use. Yeah, I think I'm just going to let Barrowgoyf in if it attacks. Alright, game on. Let's see if this pays off. Barrowgoyf mills 4. They could decline, but they're not going to. They did pick up a Bowmaster. I got a Wasteland, Underground Sea, and Brainstorm off of that. Bowmaster is the worst one they could have found, because we both know that we're jockeying around this Bowmaster in my hand. And I didn't pick up a Fatal Push, which I would have liked to do with their Goyf. Oh, interesting. I want to play Chains of Mephistopheles here. Kind of do, actually. Alright, I'm playing Chains. If they counter this, then it's available. Alright, I can't attack with Moonshadow anymore because Menace, they have 2 blockers if they want to trade Bowmaster for it, which I think is actually like a fine thing to do here. A Bowmaster, and they didn't crack the clue in response to Chains coming down, which is pretty interesting. Okay, this creature has Shadow. Do they know that? Do they have 2 Bowmasters? That would be brutal. That would also explain why they didn't crack the clue. Okay. 1 damage to Dauthi Voidwalker confirmed, but it did get through. Reverting Catacombs in the end step. Are we going to see this clue cracked? Is it time for the second Bowmaster? Just surveilling. We're going into the Void or into the hand? Put Verdant Catacombs into the Void. Barrowgoyf getting in again. Still not messing with this. Dauthi Voidwalker, do the job. Milled 4 things that were not not creatures. The full payoff, Fatal Push, 2 Toxic Ds. Okay, I found Push, which is what I was really looking for by letting that thing in. And I can push at instant speed, which can also grow Moonshadow. Okay, I am going to attack with Moonshadow and see what they want to do about that. Seems the answer is nothing. I guess that's a good spot then to push the Barrowgoyf and get my damage through. Push Barrowgoyf. Force of Will. That card's pretty nice. Okay. In response to that, I'm going to Bowmaster targeting their Bowmaster, because if I lose a fight over a Bowmaster here, at least Moonshadow's bigger. Kill yours. Fatal Push pitched. Or that force pitched another force. Okay. Now I'm a little worried about Barrowgoyf. Pushing Moonshadow over Bowmaster. That's cool. Okay. Passing the turn. Double Nethergoyf next turn actually blocks Barrowgoyf and removes it. It's a 2-for-1, but Barrowgoyf's worth it. And of course, anytime I draw the land and get to play my own Goyf is a good time. Tamiyo, that card's pretty mediocre with Bowmaster and Chains in play. I don't feel behind, but I do feel like this game's going to take a long time. Opponent has one card in their hand. Sheoldred's Edict. Ugh. Alright, I'll play out my second Nethergoyf. And now I can beat Barrowgoyf, or at least remove Barrowgoyf. I'm not really beating it as much as deleting it from play. Oh yeah, alright, cracking a clue, which means they have to discard a card before they could draw a card, which also triggers Bowmaster, which gives me an even better block. I can chump Barrowgoyf again now if I want to. They can flip Tamiyo this turn, but I'm not convinced that I care very much. Tamiyo is attacking. I think I have to go for the Barrowgoyf eat shit, try to kill it line. Yeah, like a fatal push here messes me up. Alright, yeah, I mean, that's disappointing, but I shot my shot. Can I get my Barrowgoyf into play ever? Ever? Okay, I'm going to Thoughtseize my opponent. I think I can afford the life. Took a Brainstorm. That card wasn't going to do much anyway. I will attack with Bowmaster because it's not blocking. Okay, we are into the grind hole. However, when I draw my Barrowgoyf, or when I draw my land for Barrowgoyf, this starts to push back the other way. They're busting the clue, which chains makes them discard first. I'm gonna go face. It's smart of them to do this before combat because I'm likely to block with my Orc army anyway, and a 2-2 and a 1-1 doesn't matter, but having another 1-1 next turn does. Block Barrowgoyf. Let's see if they flip Tamiyo before damage here. That would be the time to do it. I guess I could have made this a little tougher. If I put the first damage on Barrowgoyf, they wouldn't be able to flip Tamiyo in combat without losing Goyf. Alright, well, too late to make that play. Okay, they have invested in Tamiyo, which is kind of sick for me, because now my Sheoldred's Edict does something, and I actually want to make them sacrifice a non-token creature, and then take my chances versus Tamiyo, Bowmaster versus Tamiyo, and Chains of Mephistopheles. Dual decks. And my next land starts the Barrowgoyf Parade. If they ever draw Murktide, I'm just dead, because they can make it 9-9 by casting it as an 8-8, then minusing Tamiyo. And that's my life total. I need this Barrowgoyf in play before they draw Murktide. Oh no, what did I do? Did I speak it into existence? Murktide stopping at 7-7. That could have gone all the way. Does that mean they have 2? Alright, deck. Can I have the freaking land? Absolutely not. Alright, well, turn 9. I still have 2 lands in play. That's a little unfortunate. What I need here is for my opponent to just brain fart and ultimate Tamiyo. And I could have been dead right here, and I wasn't. So, weirder things have happened. Yeah, minusing Tamiyo post-combat. Didn't need that 1 damage. I'm just going to play another Bowmaster. I'm going to play like I'm going to top deck Sheoldred's Edict. Do I have one left? No, I don't. Alright, I have no outs here. But I'm going to play like I do. Yeah, thanks for showing up, Swamp. Basic Swamp. Any turn of the game before exactly this one would have been great. Alright, game 3. Straight Wraith out, Oppo in, and that's the only change I'm going to make. Jam it, let's go. On the play, hand is solid. I will keep it. I'm going to bobble myself, and I'm going to do it in my opponent's upkeep. This plays around Thoughtseize a little bit. Blue to Delta, I'll definitely be shuffling that away. Ponder, a handful of cards that are good against that. End step got the Surveil land. I know they have Wastelands in their deck, but this is still the correct play. Dark Ritual. That lets me do a lot. Alright, I'll put that on top. Draw a card. Okay. Dark Ritual. Dauthi Voidwalker. And Dauthi Voidwalker. Fuck a Chains of Mephistopheles. I'm going to the Dome. Okay, had the days for the second one. That's fine. It does put Days in the Void if I want that. I hope they think it's a good idea to Wasteland me. That would be great. Yes, 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 yes. Oh no, my land. Now I have a Wasteland in the Void. Thoughtseize. I think I want to do that later, and I'll play Chains now. Now cantrips are terrible. I want to Thoughtseize them the turn before they get to 3, maybe even 2 mana. I got 3 mana. That's Barrogoyf. There is a Wasteland in the Void. Okay, I'm going to Thoughtseize them, leaving up Orcish Bowmaster. In Brainstorm in response into Chains is crazy anyway. Damn it, me. I guess if I Thoughtseize first, I could have at least played Wasteland here. I played that like shit. Alright, I'm a moron. That was really bad. Okay, Force of Will, Tamiyo, Barrogoyf, shoot the Sheriff. Well, bad news, everyone, their hand's good. And completely my own stupid fault. If I just don't play my land, I'm fine. Why did I think holding up Bowmaster was good there? I can't explain it. Just an old school throw it in the trash punt. Alright, pass the turn. And now I'm likely to just lose to their Barrogoyf. I drew another Tamiyo. Pluto Delta mostly doesn't help. My Surveil's already gone. It does turn on Fatal Push, and they drew a land. Yep. Nothing I could have done about that, LOL. Yep, there's Barrogoyf. I need Fatal Push immediately. That's not it. Okay. Wheels are falling off. That's one thing about these linear decks that is really important to keep track of, is they are... A lot of people think these creature decks are easy, or like easier than Control or something, and in some ways that might be true, but in like your mistakes matter so much more because you don't get, like, I don't have a Brainstorm coming to save me. There's nothing here that's gonna get me out of this unless my opponent makes a huge mistake. Looks like they're just casting Murktide, which is not a huge mistake. Yeah, you really have to use all your cards completely, and I failed to do that here. I thought about something that didn't matter and got caught by something that not only did matter, but was pretty easy to predict. Okay. Big mistake there. But okay. This deck feels like every other version of this deck I've ever played. Moonshadow does feel like an upgrade to Stalactite Stalker. I wonder about a build where you just have both. Like, what if instead of these Street Wraiths, you just had Moonshadow and Stalactite Stalker? Or even Stalker over Nethergoyf, maybe? That way you have these scaling units more often. It did feel really good versus Izzet Delver, just because we have 4 Barrogoyfs in the main. And I guess that last game against Dimir Tempo, where they have their own Barrogoyfs to challenge you, which sucks, but also I went 9 turns into a game without my 3rd land to even try to cast the 2 Barrogoyfs in my hand, which would have stabilized. Also, I punted game 3, so noteworthy mistakes there. You could play something like Murderous Rider or whatever, and that would be a mono black thing. That's also a creature. That's also a removal spell. This sideboard actually, like the main deck I'm mostly on board with. The sideboard actually feels really clunky and inelegant. It's kind of like, well, I don't like the graveyard, Leyline of the Void. Well, I don't like combo, Null Rod and Damping Sphere. Opposition agent? Yeah, certainly 4 is the right number of that. Like, I think there could be a lot more nuance here, and I know we're not a cantrip deck, so playing like 1s and 2ofs is less reliable than if you're Dimir Tempo, but this is like Leyline of the Void, when we already have 4 Voidwalkers main, is that the best tool for that job? Chains of Mephistopheles when we're already playing Bowmaster, and we have 8 Cyclers in the deck, is that the best use of that slot? Does Null Rod do anything? Is 3 the right number of Damping Sphere? What about 2? What about 1? What if this was Disruptor Flute? Is Flute better than Damping Sphere? It's certainly useful in more matchups, but worse in the ones where you really want it. So I think some sideboard tuning could be done here, but I mostly like what's going on for what it's trying to do. I'm going to leave this one here. Day 1 of the Tolarian Community College layup support week in the books. Go over to Tolarian Community College to support a good cause. Let's see if we can beat last year. $580,000. I think we could do $750 this year. I don't know. I'm not affiliated with this drive. I'm just hyping it. Click the links in the video description to do that. Claire, thanks for the league. Everyone, thanks for watching. See you next time.